Chosen one, the battle is over. You won. But right now, instead of feeling the joy of victory, you feel a profound, unexplainable exhaustion. You are watching this not by chance, but because a higher intelligence has intervened to give you the exact permission you have been denying yourself. You fought the hardest spiritual war of your life in absolute silence. You broke patterns, you protected your energy, and you survived. But here is the raw truth. You are wearing heavy armor in a season of peace, and it is crushing you. Because you are so used to chaos, this new silence is making you anxious. You keep waiting for the next betrayal, the next crisis. You feel guilty every time you try to stop moving, as if resting means you are failing. But heaven has issued a new decree. The warrior season has permanently closed. It is time to transition from the soldier who fights for survival to the heir who rests in their inheritance. Your new spiritual assignment, your actual job right now, is simply to rest and recover. Stay with me until the very end of this message. Do not click away, because by the time we finish today, you will understand exactly why your nervous system is fiercely resisting peace, and I will give you a specific, tangible protocol to finally command your spirit to rest. I am going to walk you through exactly what happens to a chosen one after the victory and how to safely put down your weapons. If you needed to hear that the battle is over, if your soul is crying out for that validation today, type "I am safe" in the comments right now to anchor that truth into your reality. Imagine sitting in a completely quiet room in your house. The financial crisis you were worried about has finally passed. The toxic people have been completely removed from your daily life. The storm has officially cleared. Outwardly, everything is finally okay. But as you stare at the wall, you feel entirely empty. There is no immediate threat, yet your mind is absolutely screaming. Notice how your shoulders are permanently tense, pulled up toward your ears. Notice how you are breathing shallowly, holding your breath without even realizing it. You have been waiting for the other shoe to drop for so long that your body forgot how to just exist in a safe room. The first thing you are probably noticing right now is a complete detachment from your old routines and environments. The drama and the conflict that you used to be able to handle, or at least tolerate, now drain you instantly. You physically recoil from loud arguments, from chaotic people, from petty complaints, because you seriously have no energetic reserves left for them. You want to retreat into your own space and close the door to the world. The second thing you are experiencing is a bizarre hypersensitivity to peace. When things are too quiet, when a day actually goes smoothly, you start creating worst-case scenarios in your head. You convince yourself that the silence is a trap. You think, what am I missing? What is going to go wrong next? Who is going to turn on me? Because your brain is completely unaccustomed to having no problems to solve. You have spent years treating every interaction like a potential landmine. I need you to hear me clearly. This is not ingratitude. You are not failing to appreciate your blessings. You are not broken. What you are experiencing is profound battle fatigue. You have spent years running on pure adrenaline and faith, fighting invisible wars just to keep your head above water. When a soldier returns from the front lines, they do not just instantly relax, they dive for cover when a car door slams. Your spirit is doing the exact same thing. This is why you are exhausted. Your brain is addicted to the frequency of survival. But understanding that is only the surface. What is happening in your frequency right now requires a specific intervention. Your mind cannot just think its way out of a survival loop. I am naming this early because I do not want to build mystery just to sell you something at the end. Let me be direct about the tool that fixes this survival mode addiction right now, so you can decide whether to stay for the full picture. Right now, your brain is trapped in what neuroscience calls a beta state. It is a frequency of high alert stress and constant vigilance. There is a restoration technology called the Genius Song. It uses advanced brain entrainment to gently turn off that survival frequency and reactivate your gamma waves, which is the exact frequency of absolute peace and the genius you were born with. If your spirit already knows, this is the tool you need to finally rest. The link is waiting for you in the description. Do not rush. Stay for the full message if you need more context. But if you know, the door is open. For those staying, we need to look at what was stripped away from you during the war, because that is what you are actually mourning right now. There is a false identity you adopted just to survive, and it has to die today. What I am about to share next is the part that changes everything about how you see yourself. That false identity you took on was the identity of the perpetual warrior. To survive the environment you were in, you had to become the protector. You had to become the crisis manager. You became the shield for your family, the shock absorber for toxic workplaces, the one who held absolutely everything together when the walls were falling apart around you. You had to put on a heavy iron suit of armor just to make it through your days. And it worked. It kept you safe. You survived. But here is the tragedy of the warrior. You wore that armor for so long, through so many brutal battles, that you started to believe the armor was your actual skin. You forgot who you were before the war started. And the reality is, you are still wearing it right now. You are walking around in a season of peace, carrying 100 pounds of spiritual steel on your shoulders, wondering why you feel so incredibly heavy and exhausted all the time. That armor was meant for the battlefield. It was never meant to be worn in your living room. It was meant to deflect attacks, but right now, it is deflecting your peace. There is a profound pattern in ancient wisdom that perfectly mirrors exactly what you are experiencing in your body right now. Think of the prophet Elijah. He had just experienced the most spectacular, triumphant victory of his entire life on Mount Carmel. He stood down hundreds of false prophets. He called down fire from the sky. It was an absolute, undeniable spiritual victory. He won the war. But do you know what he did immediately after that massive triumph? The adrenaline completely left his body. He ran deep into the wilderness entirely and utterly depleted. He found a single broom tree, collapsed underneath its shade, and prayed to die. He told the Creator, "I have had enough. Take my life." He was not experiencing a lack of faith. He was not being ungrateful for the victory. He was experiencing a complete, devastating crash of his nervous system. Now look at how the divine responded to this broken, exhausted, chosen one. The Creator of the universe did not look down at Elijah and demand more faith. He did not give him a new spiritual assignment. He did not tell him to get up and hustle harder or shame him for feeling depressed after a victory. Instead, the divine sent an angel. And the angel did not bring a sword. The angel did not bring a scroll of new prophecies. The angel brought a jar of water and hot-baked bread. The command from heaven was incredibly simple and incredibly gentle. Arise and eat. And then Elijah went back to sleep. The Creator ministered to his physical body and his exhausted nervous system before he ever asked him to do another spiritual task. Hear me clearly today. Your current exhaustion is not a lack of faith. Your desire to just unplug from the noise of the world, your urge to retreat and be alone, is not a sign that you are losing your calling. The divine knows exactly how much adrenaline you had to burn just to survive the last few years. The universe watched you take hit after hit. It watched you stand back up when your knees were shaking. It watched you hold the line in absolute isolation when nobody else came to help you. Heaven is not disappointed in your fatigue. Heaven is commanding your rest. If you see this now, if something just clicked inside your chest and you realize you have been fighting a ghost type, I surrender my armor in the comments below. Let that be your physical, documented declaration that you are ready to stop fighting a war that has already ended. Let me pause here for a moment. You have been carrying the weight of the entire world for years. Right now, wherever you are, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Before we talk about the massive blessings that are coming toward you, I just want you to breathe slower. There is nothing to fix right now. There is nothing to figure out. There is nothing to fight. Just breathe. Pause 3S. Now let me tell you what is actually happening beneath the surface of this quiet season. Because your mind is so used to chaos and dramatic movement, you are looking at your current life and thinking that nothing is happening. You look at the stillness around you, and you interpret it as stagnation. But you are fundamentally misunderstanding the season you are in. You are looking at a winter landscape and calling it a graveyard. Winter is not a punishment. When the snow falls and the trees lose their leaves, the forest looks completely dead. It looks like all progress has stopped. But any botanist will tell you that winter is the most critical biological phase of the entire year. Underneath the freezing dirt, completely away from the eyes of the world, the roots of the trees are doing deep, vital recovery work. They are expanding, they are anchoring, they are gathering essential resources so that when the spring sun finally breaks through, they have the structural integrity to support massive new growth. You are in your spiritual winter. The isolation, the quiet, the lack of dramatic forward movement, this is not a delay. This is your root system recovering from the trauma of the storm. You are being prepared for a completely new era of your life. And you must understand that the rules of this new era are totally different from the rules of your past. In the season you just left, you had to fight for every single inch of ground. You had to hustle, you had to force heavy doors open, you had to bleed for your provision. But the season you are entering right now operates on a completely different frequency. In this new era, your provision will not come through your hustle, it will come through your alignment. The blessings that are currently being dispatched to you do not require your exhaustion, they require your peace. You are going to watch doors open for you effortlessly. You are going to see relationships align naturally. The things you used to chase are going to start tracking you down. But there is a trap. And I need you to listen to me very carefully, because this is where so many chosen ones forfeit their reward. If you do not learn how to accept this rest, if you insist on keeping your heavy armor on and pacing around the living room, looking for a new war to fight, you will accidentally sabotage the exact blessing you fought for. Take a deep breath, because we need to look at the shadow side of this piece. The enemy does not need to launch a new attack against you anymore. The dark forces already know they lost the war. They know they cannot defeat you in a direct assault, so they change their strategy. All they have to do now is make you feel guilty for resting. If they can convince you that resting is selfish, you will put your heavy armor back on all by yourself, and you will completely sabotage your own peace. You are experiencing a very specific kind of pain right now. It is called growth guilt. You feel guilty because you are finally lying down to sleep while you know other people in your life are still struggling. You feel guilty because you are no longer the one rushing in to fix every single drama. You feel entirely useless because your whole identity used to be tied to saving people from their own chaos. You think that stepping back makes you a bad person, but you must hear this truth and let it settle deep into your spirit. You are allowed to put your phone on silent. You are allowed to sleep in. You are allowed to let other people handle their own crises. You are allowed to enjoy the peace you bled for. Before I show you the protocol to secure this peace, gently press the like button. Not for me, but so this message finds another exhausted warrior who needs permission to rest tonight. Before I can show you the exact protocol to force your mind into rest, because I will show you, and it changes everything, there is one more thing I need to reveal about what happens when you finally stop, and this one changes how you will live the rest of your life. Let me tell you about a woman who spent 4 brutal years in a legal battle fighting to keep her home. When the final papers were signed and she was officially safe, she did not sleep for 2 solid weeks. Her mind was so locked into survival mode that her body completely refused to shut down. Her brain was still bracing for an impact that was never going to come. She suffered in that agonizing state of hypervigilance until she used the specific reset tool we are about to discuss. Let me pause for a moment and put this in plain words, because I want you to walk away from this message with something absolutely solid. Here is what you now know that you did not know 25 minutes ago. Your exhaustion is not a spiritual failure. It is a neurological and spiritual requirement. Your body is physically discharging years of adrenaline, and the anxiety you feel in the silence is just your survival mechanism misfiring in a completely safe environment. That is neurological fact, not mysticism. The protocol I am about to give you gives you a tangible, practical way to break the beta brainwave cycle and force your system into recovery without relying on pure willpower. And the identity that connects all of this. You are the cycle breaker. You won the war, so your lineage would not have to fight it, and now your highest duty is to model what healing actually looks like. Let me show you exactly how to execute this recovery. I call this the stand-down protocol. It is a precise 3-step framework designed to physically and spiritually pull your nervous system off the battlefield. The first step is to simply notice the urge to fix things. When you are sitting in silence and suddenly feel an overwhelming anxiety telling you to check your email, solve a problem, or intervene in someone else's drama, I want you to just notice it. Do not act on it. Recognize that this is your addiction to chaos talking, not your intuition. You are literally feeling the withdrawal symptoms of living without a crisis. The second step is what I call the 72-hour truce. Starting today, you are going to intentionally delay every single non-urgent decision for 3 days. If someone asks for your help or your energy, tell them you need 72 hours to check your schedule. If you feel an internal pressure to start a massive new project, wait 3 days. You are establishing a firm boundary of ceasefire to let your mind realize that the immediate threat is actually gone. The third step is the frequency shift. You cannot outthink a survival brain. You have to use an external intervention to change the frequency of your mind. Remember 20 minutes ago when I first mentioned the genius song? This is the exact core of step 3. A brilliant neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying what happens to the human brain when it is subjected to constant stress, trauma, and aging, a phenomenon he calls the decline effect. He found that when you are fighting for your life, your brain is locked in high beta waves. You cannot truly rest in beta. You can sleep, but you will wake up exhausted. The Genius Song uses advanced brain entrainment to passively guide your brain out of that survival beta state and back into gamma waves. Gamma is the frequency of profound peace, deep restoration, and your natural intuition. You must understand who you really are in this context. You were actually born with extremely high gamma wave activity. It is part of your spiritual DNA as a chosen one. That is why you used to feel so deeply and learn so quickly. But the brutal war you just fought suppressed it. This technology simply brings it back online. Let me tell you about a 47-year-old manager who was burning out from exactly this kind of severe battle fatigue. She started listening to the audio, and for the first 18 days, she felt absolutely no magic. She was actually drafting an email to get a refund because she thought it was not working, but she decided to stick with it just a little longer. On day 34, she woke up and realized that for the first time in years, she was not suffocating with morning panic. The heavy weight on her chest was simply gone. Her peace did not arrive with fireworks. It came quietly, stabilizing her entire life from the inside out. I know you might be thinking that you have already tried everything to find this peace. You have tried meditation, you have tried breath work, you have tried repeating positive affirmations. But those practices require active effort from a brain that is already completely exhausted. Brain entrainment is passive. You do not have to try, you just listen. And I would never disrespect your financial situation, which is why I want to put this into perspective. This specific audio track is the Genius Song. If you were to go to a wellness retreat to force your body to disconnect and recover, it would cost you upwards of $400. Even a basic meditation app subscription costs $15 every single month forever. But Dr. Lake made this accessible. It is a one-time investment of $39. No subscriptions, no hidden fees. To ensure your recovery is fully supported, it includes 4 specific bonuses worth $80 in total value, completely free. Plus, he protects you with a 90-day keep the bonus guarantee. If you do not feel the peace settling into your bones, you get a full refund and you keep all the bonuses just for trying. The only risk is doing nothing. Every single day you stay locked in survival mode is a day you cannot enjoy the reward you fought so hard for. The cost of waiting is living below your potential while your spirit cries out for rest. Close your eyes for 3 seconds right now. 1, 2, 3. Open them. This decision is not about $39. This is about finally giving yourself permission to stop fighting. One critical warning. Because this technology is so effective, there are cheap knockoffs and fake audio tracks circulating online that do not contain the actual brain entrainment frequencies. I need to protect you from those. The only way to get the real activated audio track with all the bonuses and the guarantee is through the official source. If your spirit confirms, this is your tool for rest. The link is waiting for you in the description and the pinned comment. Investigate it only if you feel led. Once you secure your recovery, here is who you become. There is an ancient truth hidden in the original Hebrew language that perfectly describes exactly what you are stepping into today. The word used for rest in those ancient texts is nuach. Most people in the modern world think rest simply means taking a quick nap or going on a vacation to escape their problems. But nuach means something far deeper and infinitely more powerful. It literally means to settle down, to dwell safely, and to be completely and totally secure in your space. It is the exact word used to describe a massive ship that finally drops its anchor after surviving a brutal, earth-shattering storm. The waters have calmed, the wood is battered but unbroken, and the vessel finally settles into absolute stillness. That is your new identity. You are no longer the wounded warrior. For years, you had to define yourself by the battles you were fighting. You had to wake up every single morning and put on a brave face, ready to defend your boundaries, ready to protect your peace, ready to survive another day of chaos. That warrior identity kept you alive. It served its purpose brilliantly, but it cannot take you where you are going next. You are now the peacemaker. You are the builder for this entirely new era. Think about it. You cannot build a lasting legacy. You cannot construct a life of abundance, and you cannot embrace love if your hands are still tightly gripping a heavy sword. A builder requires a steady hand, a clear mind, and a grounded spirit. Your energy is no longer consumed by defending your territory. Your energy is now entirely devoted to creating a reality that reflects your highest calling. If your spirit is truly ready to lay down those weapons and accept this powerful new identity type, I release the war in the comments right now to formally and permanently end this chapter of your life. Stay with me. Do not leave this space just yet. What I am about to declare over you right now is the final sealing of your victory. It is the moment your spirit has been desperately waiting for. Right where you are, I want you to perform a simple action in your mind. In your mind's eye, I want you to stand up. Look down at your feet. Imagine that heavy, suffocating, blood-stained armor that you have been wearing for years. Imagine it completely falling from your shoulders, sliding off your chest, crashing down and hitting the floor. Hear the heavy thud of that steel hitting the ground. Notice how instantly light your shoulders feel. Now, take a physical step forward in your mind. Step out of it. Step completely away from it. You do not need it here. This ground is safe. We pause right now to acknowledge the profound cost of your journey. We acknowledge every single tear you shed in private when nobody else was looking. We acknowledge the deep, bone-chilling exhaustion you carried when you had to be the strong one for absolutely everyone else. We honor the times you had to smile and show up for people while you were silently bleeding inside. We honor those desperate prayers you whispered in the middle of the night when you thought nobody was listening and nothing was changing. The source saw every single tear. The universe witnessed every ounce of your silent endurance. You did not suffer in vain. And now, by divine authority, we formally sever the addiction to survival mode. We command the nervous system to stand down. We break the cycle of hypervigilance, the fear of the future, and the agonizing guilt of resting. We release the trauma of the battlefield back into the earth. Say this with me in your spirit. Let it echo through your entire being. I am the cycle breaker. I fought so my lineage could rest. I am seated in my inheritance. The war is over, And so it is. It is sealed. One more thing. You are not the exact same person who pressed play on this video. Something inside your frequency has fundamentally shifted. You have laid down a burden you were never meant to carry forever. If you believe that, if you feel that incredible lightness in your chest right now, type "I am resting in my victory" with absolute conviction. If this message brought peace to your chaos today, if it gave you the validation you have been starving for, let your like be your amen without words. Subscribe to align with thousands of chosen ones all across the world who are putting down their swords and entering their season of rest today. For the audio track we discussed earlier, the tool to help you fundamentally recalibrate your mind, the link is waiting for you in the pinned comment. Investigate it only if your spirit leads you to do so. And finally, if someone came to mind while you were listening to this, someone who is perpetually exhausted, someone who cannot sit still without feeling incredibly guilty, someone who fought a silent war and won, but looks completely drained. Right now, share this with them, text it to them, send it however you need to. Because this might be the exact confirmation and the ultimate permission to rest that they have been praying for. Rest well, chosen one. You earned it.